In 1923, Germans were literally carrying wheelbarrows of cash just to buy bread. Their currency collapsed, but one thing survived and actually skyrocketed in value, and it was gold. And here's the thing, when you look at what's happening today with debt, inflation and interest rates, some scary similarities start to appear. So in this video we are going to break down what happened back then, what history says about it, and most importantly what it could mean for gold right now. If you have been wondering whether gold still matters in today's financial world, this is going to give you some serious perspective. Because when trust in money breaks down, gold tends to tell the truth. So let's rewind to post-World War I Germany. The economy was in ruins, they were crushed by war reparations, and the government started printing money like there was no tomorrow. And the result, well, it was hyperinflation. I'm talking about prices doubling every few days. People were burning cash for heat because it was cheaper than buying firewood. Retirees who thought they were set, well, they were completely wiped out. And this is where the book World of Finance comes in. It tells the story of the central bankers of that era, how their policies, politics, and panic led to one of the biggest currency collapses in history. And here's the key part. While the mark collapsed, gold exploded in value. Not because it went up, but because everything else was falling apart. People who held gold weren't rich, they were just safe. There's this powerful moment where Ahmed says, the only people who preserved their wealth were those who had moved it into gold. Now let's bring this into 2025. No, we're not Germany in 1923, but look around. Governments are drowning in debt, central bankers are stuck, and interest rates, they are breaking things. Inflation may not be hyper, but it's persistent. Trust in fiat currencies, let's be honest, it's shaky. And just like back then, gold is slowly making a comeback. It's not flashy, but it's steady. Central banks have been buying gold at record levels. That should make you pause and ask, what do they know that I don't? Gold isn't about getting rich quick. It's about surviving bad decisions made by people in power. It's the only tier 1 asset with no counterparty risk. Now, here is something most people miss. A lot of institutions don't want the price of gold to spike, at least not yet. Why? Because it signals that failure of fiat. Western financial institutions use futures contracts and ETFs like GOD to suppress physical gold prices. They flood COMEX and LBMA with paper gold, creating a massive disconnect between paper supply and physical scarcity. If the real price of gold were allowed to float freely, it would expose just how fragile that current system is. That's why central banks are buying physical gold, not ETFs. That's why countries like China don't announce their gold buys in real time. They accumulate it quietly, then reveal it when it suits them geopolitically. This is a game of optics, and gold is the scoreboard. Let's zoom out even more. The petrodollar system, that deal where oil had to be priced in US dollars, it's unraveling. For decades, this created artificial demand for the dollar. But now, China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, they are starting to settle all trades in their own currencies. And even in gold, China is making oil deals with Russia and the Gulf states, settled in yuan but backed by gold, convertibly through the Shanghai Gold Exchange. That's a stealth gold standard. It's what Zoltan Poskar and Bill Grumman have been flagging, a new monetary order where gold becomes the bridge asset between East and West, between hard assets and fiat liquidity. So when BRICS are stacking gold, it's not symbolic, it's strategic. They're building a parallel system, one that doesn't rely on trust in Western debt. So look, I'm not saying panic, but I'm saying pay attention, because when you zoom out, the patterns repeat. Central banks lose control, currencies get printed into oblivion, and those who hold something real, something scarce, usually come out better. Gold might not be sexy, but neither is watching your savings lose 20% of their value in a year. Let me ask you this. If your currency collapsed tomorrow, what would you want to be holding? Would gold protect you? Would it even matter? Or are we just telling ourselves that this time is different? Drop a comment and let me know. I genuinely want to hear your thoughts on this. Alright, if this video gave you a new perspective, hit that like button. It tells the algorithm this is worth watching, and it helps get this story in front of more people. And if you're in the deep macro stuff, gold, currencies, how history repeats, please subscribe. I've got a follow-up coming on why central banks are quietly stockpiling gold like it's 1922 again. And thanks for watching. Stay sharp.